Hello, frequent flower friends, and happy holidays. It is December. Things are feeling a little crazy. We're getting down to the last few minutes right before Christmas. But I hope you take a moment to watch this quick video to take the time to enjoy arranging your flowers. And I hope you share them with your friends and family this holiday, whether you gift them to them or if you just have it on your table for your family to enjoy. Also, keep in mind this frequent flower subscription makes a great holiday gift. So if you've enjoyed it, be thinking about others and how you could gift it for them for the next 6 months or to a year, and they can enjoy it just like you. All right, let's get started for today. So we are going to be designing with some anemones. I've got evergreen and pine cones and curly willow. I'm going to show this arrangement in this Merry Christmas container. We do have these available in the store. So they are $14. If you want this Christmas container to do your flowers in this month, let us know. We can either bring it when we deliver to you, or if you want to pick it up in store, whenever you pick up your bouquet, you can do that as well. So I'm going to teach you how to arrange in this container. But of course, if you've got your own container at home, that'll work just fine too. So let's start off with our anemones. Now, at first glance, these may not seem like anything too exciting. When your anemones arrive, they may look very closed and just very not showy. Give them a moment. As you start working with them, in your warmer space, they'll start to open and open up like this. You also may notice that depending on where you have them at home, they may close up at night when it's dark and a little cooler, and then they'll start to open up during the daylight. So they're sort of fun to watch and just see how this is a flower we don't have in the shop often. It does have a shorter vase life, but it just makes us appreciate them just a little bit more. So vase life for anemones is anywhere from 3 to 5 days, but it makes you appreciate sort of the fragileness of them and the beauty of them to just take it in and enjoy them while they're in your space. We get them in often for weddings and events, but because of how fragile they are, sometimes we'll even substitute artificial when it comes to weddings and event work as well. So these are red anemones. They also come in pinks and whites and purples and all sorts of shades. But for our Christmas arrangement, red is what we're working with today. You are also going to get some pine cones. We have wired these for you to make it a little bit easier for you to arrange. Handle with care. They do have some little sharp pointy parts. You are going to get some curly willow, some branches to work with. And then you are going to get an evergreen. This is one of my favorites. This is called Carolina Sapphire. I love how long Carolina Sapphire lasts. I love that it sort of has a soft drapiness to it. It doesn't tear up your hands quite as much as some of the other evergreen when you're working with it. So you have these stems as well. Okay, so to get started today, we are going to design in this container. Now, sometimes you may have a container at home and you know that the opening is a little too big for what you're working with. We've talked a lot on different types of arrangements about using chicken wire, using floral foam, even just using your branches or your stems as a grid. Today, we're going to do a whole nother approach. We are going to use, you could use like kitchen skewers. We have what we call hyacinth sticks. But like this is similar to like a skewer. You could use a skewer. And what we're going to do is we're going to create tension. We're going to cut these to fit them into our container to kind of create a grid to help us hold our flowers up. So I've already cut these pieces and I'll show you. I measured and cut literally just a little bit longer than the opening of the bowl. And these have a little give. So with just tension alone, I can put them down inside that bowl and create a grid. Do you see that? That's going to help keep our stems in place. Now let's try it with the hyacinth sticks. So if you come and you get a bowl, we'll send you home with some sticks as well. But you could use floral stems if they are woodier stems. You could use branches to do this. There are lots of options of what you could use to make this work for you. And I'm not even worried that it fits perfectly. We're going to go down just a little bit more. Depending on your stem, these are pretty stiff that you're not going to have a whole lot of give. Better to cut a little bit long and trim some off. But if you're using flower stems, you might have I was looking around on my floor to see if I had a mess. You might have a little bit more give in them. So again, I measured just a little bit longer than the opening. And I'm going to go down a little shorter. But you want them to feel pretty secure in there so that when you start adding stems, the weight of the stems don't make them move. But I've just sort of crisscrossed them in there. See that? Okay, this is how we're going to begin. All right, we're also going to go ahead, once we've got that grid, add our water to the container. And we can stir in our flower food. Little stir, little mixy. Okay. Okay, we're going to start with our evergreen. So these are very long pieces. We can trim these up. So I want my arrangement to be a little lower. So I can go in and I'm going to give this a trim. I'm going to remove some of those lower pieces of Carolina Sapphire. And then I'm going to just start placing into my grid. And actually, that's longer than I probably need. Now, it can be a conscious choice. Do you want your evergreen to drape down? Do you want it to stand up a little bit? I'm going to start up because I think that's going to hold our flowers in place a little bit better. Same with this one now. We can give it a little bit of a trim. Place it in. And we're just going to keep trimming up our evergreen and greening in our bowl completely. I do like to start kind of getting my outside shape. So even kind of taking 4 pieces and hitting every angle. And then I can go in, I'm losing my curly willow off the table. Then I can go in and add maybe a little bit more height. So I've got pretty small sections here, but these are really going to help give me sort of that stable grid inside. Now, fun tip, these little pieces, they smell amazing. I would save these. They're not going to go in our arrangement. What I would do is put them in like a little sachet bag and set them in your sock drawer, or maybe even you could group a bunch of them and tie them up and hang them in your kitchen, anywhere that you want that little fresh evergreen scent. If you have an artificial tree, you could do these and then tuck them into your tree, bind them, or put them in a like a sachet bag that's porous, so that you get a little bit of that scent. This one does not have a lot of evergreen in it, but I am just going to use this stem to kind of fill in my container a little bit more. Now I might go in and tweak a little bit. I'm going to give a little bit more height in the center. Now that I've got it filling in a little bit more, I can sort of adjust. So play with those greens until you have the shape that you love. Okay, next we're going to go in with the curly willow. Now, this is going to give us a little bit more height to our arrangement. It's also going to help with that grid and holding things in place. So again, you can play with heights, play with shapes. You could cut apart smaller laterals. You could keep them together. Don't be afraid if you put it in there and you're like, you know what, I don't love where that is. That's okay. You can change it. We gave you really long stems, but you can certainly make them a little shorter. You could even, how we started this arrangement with those sticks, we now have these shorter stems off of the curly willow. This would be a great way to start that grid as well. I'm actually going to crisscross them in through my arrangement just to help fill up that space. Okay, next we're going to go in with our pine cones. If you've noticed, we've kind of taken a different approach of we are greening in, we are filling in this arrangement. The last things I'm putting in are my anemones. Reason being because these are a little bit more of a fragile flower. They're also going to need a little bit more support. So by creating almost an armature out of our evergreen and our curly willow and our pine cones, we are kind of building up that grid to support our flowers a little bit more. And what we don't want to do is if these were already in here and we were taking that evergreen in and out or the curly willow in and out, it would start to beat up these flowers, which we don't want to do. Okay, your pine cones. So we've wired them for you. I would not stick them in just with the straight water like this. If you do that, they're going to move, they're going to flop around. What I would do is give this wire just a little bit of a curl, also gives it something to grip onto, and then you can place those pine cones in wherever you want them. If you have leftover stems and you want your pine cones to be a little taller, you could take it and you could wrap the wire around. That a trim. And then place it into the arrangement. So you could use the hyacinth stakes like we did. You could also use any leftover curly willow branches to wire it on there. Tuck one in the back. Honestly, this right here is beautiful. I love just sort of a simple evergreen mix. Evergreen does like to drink a lot, so make sure that you are refilling this vase as we go. And even once your anemones have faded, you can take them out and keep this arrangement. You could add in more sticks or berries. Speaking of, this is where I like to add in just a little bit of the decor that I have either at home or here in the shop. So I have got some artificial berries. This is just 2 picks. We have these in the store as well. I think they're $6. These are just 2 stems of berries. I'm going to go ahead and put some of those in there as well. I'm going to do one kind of low down in front. And you know what? You're not going to see that tag. It's just fine. I'm going to sort of bend these, manipulate them to space them out a little bit. And do one low down in front and then maybe one a little taller. So already this is beautiful. Now let's add our anemones. Like I said, they're going to want a little bit more support. So even as you're placing them into the arrangement, give them a fresh cut, and then you can start to place them in and even use some of the branches and artificial berries as a support to hold your flowers up. You'll notice their heads may kind of bend the way they want to. That's totally fine. We're going to work with them. As they start to open, they'll perk up and stand up a little bit more. As you are placing your stems, don't hold it by the head. Hold it by the bottom of the stem like you would hold a pencil. That is going to prevent the head from breaking or your stem from breaking. And then place them into your arrangement that way. Oh, she's nice and open. She's going to go right down in front. Put a few on the back side so my arrangement's all the way around. So when I place it on my table, seen from all angles. And that is it. What do you guys think? I love anemones. I love just the uniqueness of them. I love their fun little collars. I feel like this is like a Fraggle. If you don't love the collar, if you want to pull some of these off because you feel like they're a little bit distracting, You totally can. It's not going to harm the bloom. Sometimes if it looks a little full or busy, you could definitely do that. But here is our simple arrangement. We are so thankful for you guys, thankful for you being part of the subscription, thankful just being our customers and always supporting us. We hope you have a very happy holiday, and we'll see you in the new year.